Hey everyone, welcome to Soul on Fire. My name is Noelle Agape and I am a leading expert in health, wellness, and consciousness. And we have such an incredible show for you today. I'm so excited for you because we have some really juicy, deep stuff we're going into. We're going to make the mind-body connection. We're going to go deep into your emotional body and we're going to understand your emotional body and we're going to learn about literally the divine consciousness and what that is and the feminine and the masculine energies. We have an amazing guest with us today. He is a health coach. He's a business strategist and pretty much embodies the divine masculine. He's one of my favorite people on the planet, and we're going to bring him in just a minute. Before I bring him in, I do just want so much to tell you guys that today's broadcast is so important because we are talking really about the deep emotional bodies and your emotional triggers and how to manage your life, especially through what's everything that's going on in society today. So just take a minute, grab some tea and watch the show, but guys, because this is a really good one. This is a great one. We're going to go so deep into the emotional bodies. We're going to learn really tons of great knowledge from Danny at the end, and make sure you stay till the end because at the end we're going to do a live Q&A and you guys get to ask actually me and Danny any questions about health and wellness, about the quantum fields, about NLP, about anything that you have questions on. And then I have a special surprise for you guys at the end. So thank you so much for being here. Say hi as you're jumping on, and I'm going to bring on the amazing Danny Torres. Hey, Danny.
Hey, what's going on? I'm amazing. Every day above
It
ground
wasn't
is
sure
a
if you were
great
going to make
day.
it or not.
Yeah, no, trust me, I was ready. I was just looking for the email and the link. I was like, shit, why I can't find it? But I end up finding it. I get too many emails. My
Well,
emails just get
thanks
backed
for
up.
being here. Why don't you introduce yourself? I mean, guys, you're in for such a treat today. This man is so conscious. He embodies the divine masculine in every way. We're going to go deep into the energetic fields. We're going to talk quantum and divine consciousness and living in your power and living your truth, setting your soul on fire and not living that normal everyday life, right? Just literally, you and I live such a super conscious life and we're really healthy and we're so aligned with who we are, right? And so why don't you just tell our audience who you are and about all your greatness and yumminess that you're bringing to the show.
Thank you so much. I love the introduction. So I'm Danny Torres, as you already said, Danny T, life troubleshooter. The troubleshooter because it's life and business. And health. I'm very strong on health. I beat leukemia naturally after literally laying in my deathbed. And ever since then, I wanted to know more about it, not just holistically as far as foods, but I wanted to know more of the energy field, more of the quantum, more of the, how does this work internally? What are the levels of energy, which is actually a great book, but what is the levels of energy, the frequency that we put out, the frequency that actually kills cancer cells, right? So that it goes beyond of anything that people can imagine when they don't put their mind to this, right? When they don't think of something, when they don't allow the universe to give them what they want, it's they're blocking it, right? They have many invisible blocks, right? And they don't realize it, that sometimes you have your own block and that's what's preventing you, whether it be money, whether it be a relationship, love, finances, you know what I mean? Like it's all about your own personal block and the energy that you put out. And I call it the be, do, have, right? Not have, be, do, but be, do, have. Like be that one who you want to be, who you're supposed to be, and everything else, it just falls into place. Don't tell yourself you need something prior, right? So I'm very big on that. Again, very big with the health and very big on business. I love helping people either buy a business, structure it in certain ways where no money comes out of their pocket right away, like literally at all. It all comes from the business itself. And I even opened up another new business with helping people with their credit so that way they can get a loan if they want to get a different type of business. So
that's
it's pretty
amazing.
cool.
So amazing. And so why don't we start with the fact that, you on your deathbed, because that's a pretty crazy story that, it brings tears to my eyes every single time I hear it, Danny, is that, the fact that you are who you are and embody all that you are, you are holding your daughter, right? And they told you were going to die. And let's start there. And then, so I think the thing that you and I have most in common is through death, we found life, right? right? I mean,
Yes,
I
yes.
lost my father, I lost my grandfather, my mom had cancer, and then we found wellness through sickness, right? And so maybe go into that because, you know, that's really, really important for our viewers to understand the mind-body connection and how powerful that truly is.
Yeah, and it's belief, right? You got to have the belief,
Mm,
right? That it was just a diagnosis. It wasn't what it is, right? It's all the language that you give yourself too. So, I mean, you know the story, so I'll keep it short, but I'll make sure I give a little detail for those that don't know the story. 13 and a half years ago now, I bled to death and I died, and they brought me back. They hit me with a bolus in my heart to bring me back to life. And when they did, I was unconscious. I was in a coma short period of time because I had lost too much blood. I lost 12 pints of blood and 12 pints of platelets. That's actually what 10, I'm sorry, and that's actually what they gave me. Um, so, and then about 24 hours went by, I gained consciousness. But when I first woke up, I couldn't see. So I was like legally blind for the whole day, or since that happened, because I had lost so much blood. But
wow.
then the next day, I wake up and I'm like, what the hell? I have no idea what's going on, what happened. And I got needles, all over. Like, I see blood over here and I see platelets over here. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Now I'm familiar with what it was. That's why I knew I had that going in me. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here, right? So
Wow.
then the doctor comes in and he says, oh, good, you're awake, or whatever the case may be. He said, look, man, we found out what happened. You have leukemia and you got 2 to 3 years to live.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And mentally, like, I didn't know what to think, right? I didn't know that I actually had just passed away neither. Like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I was outside of the hospital. Like, I
That's
had
insane.
nobody told me anything. Um, so when that happened, uh, my daughter at the time was 14 months,
Mm.
and my mother was there. My mother was actually a nurse in the hospital. She was a nurse's aide, and she actually seen me getting pushed down the hallway.
Your
And thank
mom
God,
saw you? Oh my God.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
as a mother, I can't even imagine.
yeah.
Like my heart goes out to her so much for that.
And thank God she did, because that night, and I remember dreaming about this, but at least I thought it was a dream, but it wasn't a dream. And I remember my body feeling a real wetness, right? And it was
Mhm.
actually her rolling my body side to side. She changed my sheets 6 times that one night out of blood. And she said I was losing too much blood.
Wow.
And then that 6 a.m. I coded. Um, so a couple days later, fast forward, when they told me this, I just kind of shut down. First, I got really mad. I got really mad. I started ripping things out of my skin. And I started
Mm.
throwing things like it got a little cuckoo, right? Um, then they put some stuff in the IV, and I fell asleep. I woke back up, and my mother knew what to do, and I didn't want nobody to see me. I didn't want nobody to know me because I hate pity. I hate all that stuff. Like, I'm very private with that. Um, so then she called up my daughter's mother at the time. I mean, she's still her mother, but my ex, and she brought my daughter up, and I was fighting. I was like, I do not want her to see me like this. I didn't want any of that. So anyway, so they brought her up. I'll never forget this. And every time I tell this story, I feel like I'm a break.
I feel like I'm gonna cry every time I hear it. So, and I've known you forever, and I still feel like I'm gonna cry. So,
And so they put my daughter on my chest,
mm,
and babies know, they
mm,
know what you're going through. Like, they just know. And she put my daughter, she sat on my chest, like on my ribs, and my daughter laid down with her head on my chest, and she literally laid on this side, and she put her little tiny hands and she raised them and she started rubbing the side of my face.
oh my God.
And I looked at her, I kissed her head, and I started crying.
Mm,
But I started crying like I was like, it's like it just, the switch went on.
wow.
And I looked at her and I'm kissing her and I held her. And I was like, baby girl, I'm not going nowhere. I said, I promise
Mm,
you I'm going to see you graduate. I promise you I'm going to teach you how to drive. I promise you I'm going to be here for your wedding. I promise. Like, and I just started saying all this stuff. And sure enough, after everything was all said and done, I went home. I was on chemo 6 to 8 months and I couldn't stand it. And I told the doctor. So what happened was I couldn't stand it because I would wake up in the middle of the night cramping and just all types of shit.
mm,
I was on my motorcycle and in the middle of the turnpike, and the turnpike in New Jersey is a lot of trucks, right? So my entire body, like my hands, like just got cramped up, like everything just got stuck. And that's what used to happen to me sometimes while I was sleeping, but it never happened to me like that. So I was on a bike. I had to go to the right hand lane and just fall over on the motorcycle, right? Trucks flying by. And I knew what it was. And I said, I'm never taking this shit again. So I
Wow.
called the doctor, and the doctor said, listen, you're going to kill yourself if you stop taking it. I said, well, you're telling me I only got but so much time to live anyway. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it my way.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. And he said, we got into a little pissing match back and forth, and I didn't care. So I went completely holistic. I was like, all right, listen, there's got to be, I've always been a person to learn stuff my way, as far as like, when I say learn stuff my way, meaning like there's always other answers out there, right? I've never been a person to say, okay, if this person says this and just listen to that one person. I've never been that, right? So
That's
I
your
went.
intuition, right? I mean, that's your internal guidance system.
Exactly.
Right there.
So in my mind, I was like, all right, I started looking things up, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of people that actually beat different type of cancers. And I started to look for the leukemia, and I started to find out, oh, it's this, and it's a blood cancer, and I got to cleanse my blood. And like, I got deeper and deeper and deeper. And I started ordering plants and supplements and herbs and spices from different countries around the world, and making my own concoctions, and like, just all crazy stuff, right?
Yeah, me too.
Anything that I knew that would either kill a cancer cell or something to cleanse, I was taking it. But I also it's not just I added more into my diet, I removed from my diet. See, before that, I thought I was eating healthy because I was training, and I was actually training for a fight, for a boxing match. And so what I thought was healthy, what people in the gym think is healthy, all this protein that they take, right, which is garbage for your body, right? And eating the way you eat, so much, garbage, you're trying to fill yourself up. So what I assumed was healthy was completely wrong, because there's different levels to training, there's different levels to nutrition.
Beautiful.
So when I started to learn that, I went about 2 years, strictly fruits, vegetables, nuts, herbs, like I said, herb spices, like, and I literally, nothing else went in my body, not a drink of liquor. The only type of drink that I had that was a flavor was it because I made it in a smoothie or juice, right?
Wow.
Nothing, water every single day. Like, I mean, I completely went. And a year and a half later, doctor calls me up after I went for a bone marrow, where they stick this big ass needle with these teeth, and they got to go into your bone marrow to check the leukemia, to see exactly where it's at. That's how they get the best test. And I hated that. Oh my God, I hated doing that. So anyway, so they did it, and the test came back, and he says, listen, you're in remission. And I was like, what do you mean I'm in remission? So now I knew what it was, but in my mind, I'm like, okay, explain, right? So he tells me, he said, look, man, leukemia, they say it never goes away. But when you're in remission, you're good to go. You're cancer free, basically, right?
And how many years ago was that?
So 13 and a half. So about 11 years I've been in remission now.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
So amazing. That's really, I mean, literally, that's discipline, right? Aaron just said that.
I'll tell you what, it's discipline is 100%. But what I will say is, when someone is faced with adversity at that level, the discipline, it serves no purpose. Like, you're just like, I don't have to be disciplined, because this is just who I am. That's who you become, right? Now you're raising your human nature, not just your mindset, right? But this is human nature now. So now my human nature had to raise its standards and say, this is who you are. This is your lifestyle. Discipline, absolutely, there's discipline,
Agreed.
but it becomes your lifestyle, right? And it becomes your new normal.
Well, let's talk about that, because that's so huge for both you and I, right? We live this, we breathe it, we live health and wellness, we breathe it, we teach it, right? And so let's talk about making the mind-body connection, because that is, you truly, I mean, it was your body, and your daughter's laying on your chest, and you made a commitment, and you said, I'm changing my life in this minute, right? The moment that my mom got cancer, my dad passed away, my grandfather passed away right before that, right? It was like, I'm done. I am done with this. And you and I have committed our life to health and wellness route, 100%, right? But even further than just the body, let's talk about like making the mind-body connection, and how powerful our mind is, and how powerful we, like, our thoughts are, and being conscious. Like, our body's a machine. It's chemistry, right? I mean, it's
our body. So I'm so happy you're bringing us into this, because one thing also, it wasn't just foods, right? It wasn't just foods. It was also internal. right? It was also from the exercising. It was also from not just exercising normally, but the trampoline, cleaning out my lymphatic system, right? I was hitting my body, cleansing in all different manners. But
Yeah.
the biggest way I was cleansing it was of a negative mindset,
I
right?
love
The,
that.
the negative thought processing, the negative language that you speak to yourself, right? Self-talk is extremely powerful. And the belief, the true belief that, you know what, I truly felt in my mind that I've never had it.
Mm-hmm.
If the doctor said I was diagnosed, and I use that word diagnosed, I never used the word, oh, I have, or I had it. I was diagnosed,
I love that.
right? So like we could have a conversation. Oh yeah, I had this, or I went through this, whatever. But in my mind, when I speak to myself, I was only diagnosed
Somebody
because
else put that on you, right?
well,
Right. You
because
didn't.
that leaves room, right? For which way do you want to be diagnosed now? Which way do you want to go with that? That doesn't give you a definitive answer whether you have it or you don't, yes or no. And that being diagnosed language is a language that you're telling yourself, I believe I don't have it. I believe I never had it. And belief, like the placebo effect, that is so true. That is so true. From meditating to breathing. I mean, breathing was one of the biggest. I went to California. I went to this lady, I forgot her name, but I went and took this breathing exercise. It was a little course, and it was different type of breathing to get into a meditation, right? Why? Because breathing, when you have an oxygenated body, 90% of the world, they walk around with lack of oxygen as it is
Yep.
because they don't breathe correctly, right? We was never taught, oh, you have to breathe correctly. We just think, and that's breathing. Like, no, the more you oxygenate your body, your cells, your computer, because this is a computer, and whatever program that we give our computer is what runs. And the more you oxygenate that and you take them deep breaths, you're not only oxygenating your body and feeling great, right? Giving yourself energy because you can, when people drive and they start to nod off and they put the radio on and they open the window, if they literally pulled over for 2 minutes and took a lot of deep breaths or did like box breathing, they get so much energy and they don't
Yeah.
realize that, right?
This is
So,
the
but
parasympathetic and sympathetic
yes,
system, right?
boom,
And getting your nervous system and your neural pathways
yes.
straight, right? I mean,
Yes, yes. And also by doing that, what you're doing is you're dropping any type of cortisol levels because the world 90+% lives in high cortisol levels,
so
which
talk about that. What does
shut
that mean when you're in high cortisol levels for people like you and I that don't really understand it for the layman viewer? Like when your cortisol
so
levels are
when
high,
your
what does that
cortisol
mean?
level is high, when your stress becomes high because everything that's going on right now, especially with this COVID, right? For instance, everybody's stress is so high, that's where sickness sneaks in because your immune system is not allowed to work because you're in a state of fight or flight 90% of the day. Your immune system shutting down because now you're just and because your cortisol levels are so high, and now what? Your immune is down. You're not able to fight. Your white blood cells is not working the way it should be working because the fight or flight is kicking in. When your fight or flight kicks in, it can't give energy to every part of your body,
And you're not thinking clearly,
and
right?
you're
I mean,
not
you're just
exactly
literally not thinking in a clear state of mind. Right. And so you
100%.
and I, you came out to San Diego and we did a beautiful, beautiful conference together. And we taught people how to breathe and we taught people how to understand their mind-body connection. Give some people some tips on what you think the best way that they can just connect right away to their body and understand. Because you and I teach, like, if there's anything wrong in your body, there's nothing in your external world that is happening that is not going on internally, right? So that
Right.
cancer was something in your internal
I
world.
call that in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I called that in. Some way, somehow, something that I was not doing correctly in my life, whether it was just foods, I think it was several things, right? But I called that in.
Beautiful.
You call, and again, some people might look at this like, oh, listen to what I'm telling you, right? Listen, you call in everything in your mind, your body, you think you're worrying all the time. You're calling in dis-ease. You're calling in stress. You're literally putting the energy out saying, oh, I don't want to get sick. Well, you're going to get sick, right? What you resist persists, right?
Exactly.
And you call that in. You're absolutely right. You call in. But you know what? Like I said, and I say it now, I'm blessed. Why? I thank God that happened to me. Because if that would have happened to many others, they probably would have let go. They wouldn't have the mindset to beat it, and they probably would have gave up. But because it happened to me, I had the mindset to beat it, the strength to beat it, and I have the knowledge now to help others beat it. So I think God it happened to me. As crazy as it sounds, I think God it happened to me because I've helped so many, and you know this. I've helped so many with not only just with cancer, but with other things going on that they can potentially heal themselves. And it's to me, it's like a natural high. I walk around with a smile, like I just saved another person.
You're the male version of me, right? I say that all the time. Like you and I are so similar. We live in this, like we play in this fairy world, right? And it's not bubbles and unicorns, because we have gone through the dark night of our soul. We have gone through the darkness, right? I mean, I faced abuse sexually and physically, and you faced cancer, and we teach from that space, right?
Yes,
Through our pain is
yes.
our purpose, and we bring that out to the world, and we show the world that the dark night of your soul that you're going through, even what everybody's going through right now with COVID and the frustration and everything, the darkness of this world, we're here to bring that out and change that and transmute it into light,
Yes,
right? So maybe go into that and talk about how you transformed from having this, it became your purpose, right? It truly became your purpose in your life. And now you're giving your gift of you to the world. So maybe talk about how you went through the darkness to get to the light.
Well, yeah, you definitely, especially the nights where you sit there by yourself all alone and you just have nothing to do but to think, right? We're all human. There's no such thing as a perfect. There's no such thing as, oh, hey, look, I'm all hyper and happy all the fucking time. Like, no, I'm human. Like, I'm human, right? There is
We're on
times.
national TV, by the way.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm real. I'm human. Like me, love me, leave me, hate me. You're gonna respect it. But I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It's all good. It's all good. It's so raw and real, Danny. And you are the epitome of the divine masculine. And I love you for all that you are, really, truly. And so maybe talk about those dark, the mindset of getting through the darkness and how to, the fear and the anger. You could have gone into fear and you could have said, this
Easily.
has a hold of me, right?
Easily.
As opposed to I have a hold of this, right? And
Easily.
so maybe give our viewers some takeaway tips of how they can actually not live in fear and live, in a place of purpose from that dark space.
So any dark space that you go through, right? And I've been through many, not just health wise, living wise, when I was a kid, living through a shelter, like, whatever adversity it was, right? You have two types of people. You have the one that looks at the glass, and everybody hears this, the glass half empty, the glass half full.
Yeah.
Right. I always look for the better of things. I always look for the glass full. I'm always trying to be optimistic. Now, I'm only human. There is times where it gets to me, but you have to just ground yourself and you got to believe, like, you know what? I am here for a purpose. I am here for a reason. Even if you might, you're going through the worst, or you're going through cancer, or you're going through, God forbid, the COVID or whatever it is, right? You got to understand that no matter what it is out there, every day above ground is a great day, first of all, right? And I say that every day.
You do.
And
you live by it. You truly live by it.
I swear I do.
You set your soul on fire. You don't just live life and go to work and teach. You go to Puerto Rico. You're one weekend.
I travel.
You're everywhere, right? You truly embrace this life, and that's what this show is about. Is coming from a space to set your soul on fire, right?
When a lot of stuff was going on in the beginning of the COVID, right? My mother, I'll tell you two stories. One with my mother and one with a good friend of mine that's a correction officer, CO, right? So my mother's a nurse. She like I said, she worked at the hospital. It's 36 years and she smokes, right? And I tried getting her off of that. I actually did some NLP on her and I got her to quit for almost a whole year, but she got back onto it. But whatever. Anyway, she is the only one. Every single doctor and nurse got sick but her. Wow. And I told her before when all this started to go on, I got my supplement line. Mm-hmm. So I went over there with a couple different supplements and I said, listen, this is what you're going to take every day. These are the breathing exercises that you're going to do every day. Like I literally gave her a whole plan on what to do every single day while this was all going on. Wow. They all ask her to this day, how the hell did you didn't get it? Like, you're not even testing positive for nothing. Wow. Right? And they're asking her these questions. And I tell her, look, it's not just what I gave you to just as supplements. Did that help? Of course it did. But it also has to do with breathing, has to do with not allowing that negativity to bother you, right? Making sure you're cutting your cords at the end of the night, right? So I told her all of that. And then a friend of mine, he's a CEO. So he calls me up. He says, listen, bro, I got the COVID. I don't know what to do. Can you help me? I said, absolutely, I can. Look, where are you at? He's, nah, I don't want to see you, man. Because look, I'm honestly, bro, I'm not even worried about it. And then he was like, what? I said, look, man, I'm not worried about it. So I met up with him. Now we didn't shake hands or nothing, but we was close talking or whatever. I gave him a couple supplements. I told him what to do. And one of the biggest things I told him, I said, look, if you take all this stuff and you don't believe it, it's not going to work. Right? Will it help you heal a little faster because it's building your immune system? But you got to believe it. So sure enough, he was back to work like this. He had his 2 weeks quarantine. I think in a couple of days he was already called me up like, oh my God, I feel great. Blah 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 blah. Everybody, all the CEOs started calling him to call me, and I was hoping half the people in prison with and I didn't even know. He had called me like a month later. He said, "Look, man, like people are looking at you like you're this doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. Like I just, it was funny. It was real funny." But yeah, I don't, it doesn't bother me. Like, I'm not worried to try to, if I, God forbid, somebody gets sick, me personally, like, nah, like, I'm good. I'm in the universe. I'm in God's hands. I'm good. I know my immune system. Like, and that's just the way it is. Like, if something happens to me, then I know it happened to me for a reason, because there's somebody in my life in the future, near future, that somebody's going to need something from me. That's why I'm going through what I'm going through now. And that's how I look at everything. Everything. Listen, the good and the bad to you, the good and the bad happens for a reason, right? And whatever kind of energy that you pour towards it, you can play victim or you can play victor. That's totally up to you. You decide. And that's it.
I love that so much. And so let's talk about, you said something about energy cords, right? And so you and I work with energy. We're energy healers. We do deep, deep, deep work into the quantum fields. And, a lot of people, we don't go, I guess now we're on national TV. We're saying but, most of the things we do is the health, but we work in the quantum fields and we work with energy. And so it's so much bigger than us, right? It's not just the vessel of taking care of the vessel. You start with the body, right? And then you go to the mind, and then it's the belief system that you were talking about, right? And the next level beyond that, that most people miss is the energy, the people you're surrounding yourself with, the people that the energy you're inviting into your world, all of the energy.
Big time.
Right. And so you and I could talk quantum, like big, big, big energy, but just for our viewers, why don't we spend some time on, what it's like to, like, even in the cancer world and even in, the abuse world and all of the things that you and I have gone through, we could have lived in the victim, which is a very dark place, right? We could stay there. And you and I are so super conscious in every aspect of our life. It's like, wait, am I going to eat that? We start there. And then we say, wait, am I going to think that? And then we're like, wait, are we going to spend time with that person that's really, truly negative? And we have put people on pause in our life, right? Both 100%. Because they're like, whoa, they're blowing up the negative energy and stuff. And so not to go deep into the energetic fields, but let's talk a little bit about the energetic system and how it connects to the body and the neural pathways and the neurosystems and the chemistry of your body, and how we are all energy in motion, and what that looks like when you're toxic. And then we'll talk a little bit about like the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and when they're broken and when they're wounded and stuff.
Absolutely. So one of the biggest things when people ask me about energy, and some people say, oh, I don't know, I don't believe it, the first thing I do is I ask them, well, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been somewhere where you feel, I just don't feel right here? Or your intuition is speaking to you? And then they'll say, yeah, a lot of times. Okay, well, guess what? That's energy. Right? That's literally your kinesthetic energy that's in your body, your intuition, your first brain, which is your gut, not the brain. This is your second brain. Your first one is here. So when you listen to your intuition, and women are great at this, right? When you listen to your intuition, that's your first brain telling you what time it is. Now, 5 seconds later, you're up here now. Now the logic brain is coming in, and now you start to question. And that's what happens with everything, right? So that's one of the biggest things I tell them. And then when they tell me that, all right, well, guess what? That was energy. Or you ever around someone and immediately you like, oh, well, that person makes me smile. That person gets me aggravated. That person drains me. That, and then, oh, yeah, I do. Okay, well, guess what? That's energy. Right? Just to bring it down in real simple form, that's powerful, because the energy that your environment, the energy around your environment is so strong. It's stronger than your willpower. For one thing. And secondly, like, you end up becoming that. You become a product of your environment. And it's the energy, and you don't realize it, but this is what you're absorbing. Your body absorbs energy very easily. And if you don't, especially empathetic people, and we both have empathy in our nature, right? We feel that. Right?
We feel everything. Right?
Yeah, we feel that. And everybody has it. Everybody in the world has this. right? They might say, no, I don't. Yes, you do. You have something because you got intuition, you got energy, you understand different fields and different levels of it, right? Like love, right? Love is what, 520, 528, right? Why do you think people, when they fall in love, they become so productive?
Hmm.
Why? Because that first of all, that high, one of the highest, besides, the next couple enlightenment and whatnot, but one of the highest ones that you could literally walk around with, right, of love, is because you want to do better. Why? Because you're serving someone else. You want to do better because you want them to do better. You're no longer in your own. When you're in your own head, your energy can go but so level, so high. When you
So,
want to do
so
for
that
others, your
vibration
energy.
you're speaking of, right? I mean,
Yes,
the hurts that you
yes.
just to,
And vibrations, right? Like meditation. When people go when they do that, right? That's vibration,
mm-hmm.
right? There's different vibrations that you can, whether it's music or meditating, or making them own sounds. That's killing dis-ease inside of your body. Also, it's vibrating your energy to bring your frequency up,
Yeah.
right?
And
But nobody
movement,
teaches us
and
this.
exercise and movement too, right?
Yes, yes, and that's why if you the majority of people that work out are a little tend to be happier than the ones that don't. It's facts.
So
It's
let's talk
facts.
about that, Dini, because that's huge, right? The serotonin and the oxytocin and the dopamine that come from your gut. You said your gut is your second brain, right? Your heart and your gut. We have three
Well, I
brains.
mean, it gets released up here, but yeah, this is your first brain down here. But serotonin, dopamine, they tend to give themselves natural dopamine hits.
Mm-hmm.
When you make me laugh, you make me feel good.
Yeah.
That's a dopamine hit. That's why people are attracted to certain people, because they want to be around that person more often because they feel better. Why? Because they haven't became intuitive into their own, like, okay, I can make myself feel better.
Mm.
I don't have to leave my emotion or my feelings with someone else, because that means that you lack in self-love. Men or women, you lack in self-love if someone else controls your emotion, if they control how you feel, and the majority of the world does, right? That's like with suffering, right? I lived with the Buddha in Thailand for 30 days, right, with the monks.
You're my hero, by the way. That was the coolest thing that you've ever done in the world.
Yeah, it was cool. And they talk about it. They talk about emotion. They talk about suffering. They talk about, if someone calls you an asshole and 2 seconds later you still feel some type of way, whose problem is that? That's not their problem. That's your problem, because you choose to allow their words to affect you, right? You're not playing guard to your energy fields. You're not allowing them to stay high.
And let's talk about the lessons, because you did spend so much time like that with with a monk in where was that, Bali? Was that
Thailand.
Thailand? Yeah. And so from that space, right? I believe, and you believe, that our souls come in and we all have lessons, right? And when the best reflections ever are the relationships that we're in, right? The people that are closest to us. If somebody's giving us a vibration off of, oh, hey, whoa, you're kind of being douchey, or hey, I truly love you, it's because there's something within you that's getting triggered. And triggers are good and bad, right? But
Yes.
there's nothing really good or bad about an emotion. It's just showing you what's going on in your body
Yes.
and the work that you have to do on the soul level. So let's talk about that, and moving from the energetic fields to your soul's purpose and the soul on fire, right? How do you literally move from, I mean, you and I teach this, right? We move from the body, we go to the mind, we go to the energetic fields, we clear our chakras, we clear our aura, we clear the systems. And then we move to our soul's purpose, which is service, right? We bring back all of the lessons that our soul came here through. You and I in our young life, we have been through some massive shit, right? Excuse me. But we've been through some massive stuff, but we get to teach in the highest level because of that, right? And so the deeper that the anguish that you have gone through, the deeper your soul's purpose is, right? And the soul's
100%.
lessons. So talk a little bit about soul contracts and the lessons that you have when you come here and you jump in and we say, okay, like you and I are like, hey, let's play together. Okay.
Oh, let's play together. That sounds great. Yeah, no, let's talk about the soul contracts, man. Let's talk about how you feel planted on earth, or you feel planted in front of people for a reason and you just don't know why, right? Because it's a contract that you have to fulfill. Now, in order to fulfill that, you have to become one with yourself also, right? You know how you had just mentioned something with the emotions, you have to sit in it, right? No matter what it is, you have to sit in it. And once you sit in it, then you're able to move from it. Then you're able to move, and that's how you're able to help other people because we embrace. I always say, excuse my language, I'm about to blow F-bomb. We embrace the fuckery,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
have to do that, right? And when you're working with people, talking to people, even when you're meeting people, I believe soul contracts is everywhere, no matter who you meet. I don't care if it's a 5-second hello, I never met you before, bye. There's a reason why.
I
I
love that.
truly, truly, truly believe there is a reason. There's a reason why me and you connected,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's a reason totally why when I went to San Diego and I spoke, and it was a room, and everything was just in sync,
It was so beautiful.
right?
And
Everything was just
when I met in Chicago, we were like, hey, it was just like, it was like our soul remembered each other,
yes,
right? It was totally
yes.
like this
And
fun.
because you reflect, right? You reflect when you meet someone. There's a lot of your own traits. Like when somebody asks you, "Oh, what do you like about a person?" Everything you say is actually talking about yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
And what you dislike about that person is everything that the work that you have to do within you, right?
You're absolutely right.
Right, right. So let's talk about because you are seriously that weekend in San Diego, and we've known each other for a while now, but that weekend in San Diego when we spent 4 days together, I really embodied your energy so much. Was you are probably the most divine masculine man that I know, right?
You are the third person to tell me that this week.
Oh, well, that's
Swear to God.
you're a gentleman, but you're like an alpha male. Like you're legit alpha male, but you are the kindest soul, and you're here for purpose. You're here for service. You will do everything you can. You know, I think one of the coolest things in the world, Danny, that and I don't even know if anybody knows this, but like we were doing our conference and we were cleaning up after the conference, and I went to take out the trash, and you're like, no, let me do that, and you're like, hey, don't get your hands dirty, you know, you just talk all day, and I just thought that you know, chivalry is kind of dead in this world
Chivalry
today,
still
right?
exists.
Yeah, and
Chivalry still
you,
exists.
you are the perfect embodiment of the divine masculine, right? So
Thank you.
let's look at the wounded masculine and the wounded alpha and the divine masculine and the divine masculine, and then we'll go into the divine feminine after that, because we have both energies within us, right? It's not a male or a female. We have both energies within us, right?
Yes, yes,
Talk
yes,
a little
yes.
bit about what that looks like as the wounded masculine, and you know, you and I teach this. Is
Absolutely.
when you're in your wounded, it's often that's what is reflecting out your life, and those are the relationships that you call in, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You're gonna call in that type of relationship. It's like when a woman says, "Oh my God, I keep finding the same type of man. I'm with this one. I met another guy. Oh, but God, it ends up being almost the same way." It's internal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that person. It's you. You're calling in that energy, right? And like a wounded masculine, like remember. So I've worked with over 1,200 men, right? The one men retreat that I do, right? But remember when I did the toxic masculinity poetry that I did in New York City, right? I spoke a lot about this, and because the wounded masculine, right? They play the blame game on everyone, right? They want to be aggressive, passive, right? They want to have anger out because they don't know where to throw their anger,
Yeah.
right? They hide everything in, they hold it in, they want to control, right? They think it's okay to abuse emotionally because they're not abusing physically,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're very like they criticize a lot, right? They tend not to look in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when it comes to that, as a wounded masculine, where people think, "Oh, I'm alpha, rah rah rah," like, no, man, it's not about that,
But you
right?
are alpha, but you are, but you're alpha in such a divine way, right? So explain the difference.
Um, I don't say, hey, I'm an alpha male. I don't do like the ones that say they claim it a lot. I think they're full of shit. I think they're not,
Well, they're insecure, for
right.
sure.
Very insecure, right. Me, ever since I was a kid, I've always been a natural protector.
Hmm.
Like that's who I am. I have a heart of gold, but
Beautiful.
I'm a natural protector,
Hmm.
right? So I do believe chivalry still exists. I do still walk on the outside, make sure the woman walks on the inside. I do it with my daughters. I do open the door for them. Rather be in a car or in a house, I still buy them flowers. Like, just little subtle things like that. But all of that counts,
Yeah.
right? And the problem now that we're having is because 80% of the world in the United States, especially, they're growing up with single boys are growing up in single family homes with a mom. And the mom is doing everything they're possible that they can. They got the strength of a giant, but it's still a limit with the masculine energy. Even though how much masculine they could try to show, that the boy still needs to see a man. He still needs to be around a man, right? And that's what's happening. There's so many men these days that's growing up without it. There's so many men these days. Listen, I was a wounded masculine when I was young. I was very angry because of everything that I went through as a child, and I fought. I fought a lot. I went into boxing to fight because I was fighting so much in the street, right? Because why? I was angry. I was just very angry. Anybody even looked at me wrong. But all I was doing was fighting my demons, and I wasn't sitting in it. I wasn't allowing myself to express and really sitting like, yo, Danny, what is going on? Like, I can't be like this. And I had to figure that out myself. Nobody else can do that. Like, you have to really look in that mirror and sit in it and be like, you know what? Like, this is not me. This is not fun. I mean, when I was 14 years old, people used to pay me $20 and I used to go fight in a cage, in, a little gated area. Like, I didn't care. Why? Because the anger in me from when I used to get beat when I was a kid, right? So I took it out on others because I didn't know, but sometimes you want to go past that. So I had to go past that and I had to say, why did I get treated like that? You know what? Because that's the way he got treated and he just didn't know no better. And you got to see things like that and rewrite your story to what happened, right? And rewrite your own story, right? And then you become more of there's no such thing as 100% balance, right? But you become more of a balanced form of where your masculine and feminine energy, when and where to apply it, right? And your intuition, like I'm a natural protector. Like, that's who I am. I am a protector. Anybody around me, and you know this, right?
Seriously, being around you is the safest I've ever felt in my entire life. Really, I'm like, he's got me. Like, if there's never a moment, and even just being your friend, right? There's never a moment where I can't make a phone call to you and you don't have my back, right? I mean, 100%. Literally, and it is this beautiful knowing within you that that's really your role, and so that's perfect. And now, how about the feminine? Because let's get a man's perspective on what the wounded feminine looks like. Because I could talk about the wounded feminine and to my audience, and they hear it all the time from me. But from a man's perspective, what does that look like, the wounded feminine, and what does a woman in her power look like? And honoring her and honoring you as a man, and honoring both of you guys in a relationship.
I feel a wounded feminine is highly emotional. Highly emotional. They don't know where to put it out. They play a lot of blame game, very similar to the masculine, right? They can be very manipulative at times.
Yeah.
Just because they're trying to prove a point and they know that they're wrong, but they're going to do which way possible to make you believe them, right? I feel they play this powerless role where they play victim instead of being victor, right? And it doesn't have to be where they have to show up in a masculine or feminine or whatever it is, but they show up a lot more in victor, right? They show up in neediness, right? They're always needing something.
That's a big word, neediness, right?
Yes, or it's always about them, right? It's not about their significant other. It's about them. Like, oh, I did this, so you have to do that, or they like it's something is always about them. Now, I think a woman that truly stands in her beautiful form and balances out a masculine and feminine. Again, like I said, there's no such thing as 100% balancing, right? She knows, like, let's say it's a woman. There's many women these days that they're in the masculine when they go to work, for instance, right? A lot of women leaders, a lot of women bosses, a lot of women, empowering people in this world. Beautiful, right? I think it's amazing. Now, if they're not wounded, they can come home and they know that they can put their guard down to the world and they can be that little 6-year-old girl and dance and have fun and smile and let the husband take charge. Right. And when I say take charge, I mean, like, hey, hon, you're home now. Like, you can relax. I got this now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's where the balance comes into play. That's where it is. And they know their role. They know they can be that queen, but they also know they can be a little princess.
I love that so much. And somebody said to me the other day that the divine feminine is the masculine is the container, right? You guys hold the space for us, right? And then we come home and you guys come home to us. And then we are the emotional. We allow you to feel emotionally safe, but you guys allow us to feel physically safe, right? And so 100%. the women that are in their divine power it's not like, oh, I'm a powerful woman, you know, F you. It's truly living
Unconditional
that
love.
energy, right? And saying, in 1 minute I can be a fairy, and then the next minute I have stuff I have to get done, and I do get everything done, right? But
Yes.
they're to support, and they're to love and intuition, and just truly living from the space of the man is the action, right? The divine masculine is the action and the power behind everything and the motivation. And the divine feminine is the intuition and the idea and the creativity behind it. And when you put the two of them together, it is the most beautiful energy in the world, right?
110%. You hit it right on it. Because at the end of the day, the man is the hunter and the woman is the nurturer.
Beautiful. So Heidi, we love you too. Thank you so much. So we're going to open it up. We have a couple minutes left. Let's open it up for people, guys that are on here, Carol and Jessica and Heidi, Anthony. Let's ask them any questions you want, you know, health and wellness, NLP, quantum.
Heidi, which Heidi? Gabriella or Heidi?
Gabriella, yeah. So basically, Danny, if someone were to come to you and said, how would I live, like make the mind body connection? How would there's a question here that says, well, where do you even get started? Like, right. So what would the best place to do? One, find a coach like Danny and myself, right?
Yeah,
or
right?
two, if somebody wanted to get started, what's the best place to, you know, there's so many different places where you are. You have to start where you are.
Yeah, 100%.
What would be the best?
Well, everybody would be different, and what I would ask them first is, well, what is pulling you? Like, what is something that's pulling you, right? For instance, like I literally just had this conversation the other day. It's a little off, but it has to kind of do something with ayahuasca, right?
We're doing that together still.
yeah, let's do it, right? So I just had this conversation the other day, and this woman called. She sends me a message through Messenger, and I know her through the Tony Robbins world. So I got on the phone with her, and she's asking me these questions about it, right? Because she knew I threw a couple of the small events with ayahuasca, and I said, "Well, you're talking about it." I said, "But is it pulling you?" Right? Do you feel like it's your turn, your time, and are you doing some homework on it? Because same thing with the mind body soul connection. Do you feel like you want to be more grounded? Do you feel like there's another level? Do you feel you want to know a little more about energy? Right? Then, okay, well, which one is it? Is it the meditation part? Is it the energy part? Like, then, okay, well, now I narrow that down a little. Okay, I'll tell you what, I invite you to check out this book, or I invite you to check out this YouTube channel. I invite you to check out, and then I would start that way. You can never just say, all right, cool, I'm running in it. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And all in one shot. Like, no, don't do that. You're going to drive yourself crazy, first of all. And second, you're just going to think you're just doing it as like a hobby. And it's not something that you're truly feeling. When you feel it, you'll know. And it happens with everybody. Listen, I just turned 38 years old. When I was 28, I never in my life thought I would meditate. Now I do it every day of my life.
I teach meditation, and I used to have anxiety for 10 years, right?
Yeah, right. So that's what I'm saying. But it called me. There was certain times different things called me. And then I got deeper into it. Then I got into we got into the quantum things of it, got into the energy things of it. And just, it goes deeper and deeper and deeper, right? So that's what I would say. Like, what is it that you truly want or questioning, right? Listen to it. Listen to your intuition. Listen to the questions that you're asking yourself and seek answers for that first. And then move on. Because once you do that, there's going to be a lot of doors that's going to open and you're going to go down a rabbit hole. But just know it's purpose. Like, it's supposed to happen this way. I think 2020 is the year of the awakening. Not just because of all the nonsense that's going on, but I think the reason I say that is because this year, many people in the world are realizing, one, because they had so much time to just stand home, but two, they're realizing how much they think outside of the box, what is really going on. It's making them second question what other people are saying. It's making them go deeper into getting answers. And that's just the beginning of each person's life to everything else where they want more answers. And they're going to dig deeper and they're going to be more awakening because they're going to start to see things from a different light.
I'm so in agreement with you. You know that we're here on this planet right now to make the changes that we can, right? Oh, here's a question. So if you're in a relationship with somebody that's in the broken masculine, what would you do? Oh, that's a really good question.
I love it. All right. So a couple questions, right? if he's in his broken masculine, however, whatever you feel that is, what else is going on that you might not see, or that he might not be telling you because he has too much pride or ego to say something? What is other ways that you can potentially get questions or answers out of him? And how are you showing up? Right? If you're showing up the way you should show up in the household, are you allowing him to play a king? Or, like many women, are you demasculating him and not allowing him to do that? Right?
Beautiful.
And it sounds something so like this can happen so easily, right? So let's say she's yelling at him or says something where he's like, and again, I'm just throwing things out there. I don't know, I don't know the person who asked the question. I can't see none of that, but let's just say you get into an argument. How does that argument happen? Like, how are you aware of this argument? Are you respecting each other's space? Are you like, I want answers right now? Is he doing that to you? I want right now. Is it bumping heads? A lot of times when people argue in a household, it's because their polarity levels of masculine and feminine is equal. And it can never happen.
It's usually the masculine fighting the masculine or the feminine fighting the feminine.
And that's what happens.
For a man or a woman, it's the energies within you, right?
Correct. It's all about that. So now, like for instance, let's just say it's the end of honeymoon, the first 6 months, they call it the honeymoon stage, right? And now the man gets comfortable and the woman gets comfortable. She stops wearing sexy clothes. He serious,
ever,
right?
By the way,
he stops. Friday night, you guys go out. Now he's like, oh, whatever you want to do, wherever you want to go, we'll go, right? That's not the correct thing to do. Why? The woman come home from work, or whether she's home or not, she doesn't want to play that role. She might want to tell you, hey, listen, I want to go out tonight. All right, cool. Then it's up to you. You don't have to pick a million different places, but you know what? I always ask the one question, right? When stuff like this happens. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Tell me what you would like to eat, and I'll pick the restaurant. Right? Because now you're literally meeting in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, if I give her all the power,
I told you that 1,000 times. We need to just copy you, and then you promote you all over the world.
Well, like think about it, because if I give you all the power to think, you don't want to do that. You want to go in the mirror, you want to get dressed, get sexy, have fun while you're putting your makeup on. Right? You don't want to have to think, I have to do this, I got to set the schedule, I got to do this. Because if you do, then guess what? You're living in your masculine, right? And now you're going to start bumping heads. Right? So you have to understand that. And again, another thing with the wounded masculine, like literally just ask questions, right? And find out, like, listen, like what's really going on? Because it's something not, whether is it me? Is it work? Is it like, what is really going on? Like, talk to me. Tell me 3 things that can make you happy every single day.
I love that, Dan.
And let's work on that. And go back and forth, right? Always say that, listen, tell me 3 things. Tell me 3 things that'll make your life happy. Now, look, granted, I can't control your happiness, but I can add to it. But tell me 3 things that I have to do every day, or that if you see me slip up, you can check me. How can I make you happy every day? 3 things.
And how can she make you happy too?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Both ways. So like, if she approaches him and asks his questions and he doesn't want to answer, he's still in his way. All right, cool. And then she flips the script and says, well, I'll tell you what. Tell me 3 different things that I can do to make you happy. And I'll tell you what, I would like to tell you mine. You right? And then if that doesn't work, tell her and him to get a piece of paper, and don't exchange this paper though. You keep it to yourself.
You might go divorce.
and you write down every single thing that you appreciate about that person. But you do not give it to that person. You write it down for you. And you write it down, and that as you're writing, you're gonna be like, holy shit, man, like she does a lot for me. Or he does a lot for me. Or vice versa. Or this guy's a great man. This guy's woman's a great woman. Let me fix this. Right? And let me get outside of this box. Right? And it's communication. It's communication is key.
You're so amazing, Danny, and we're so blessed to have you, and thank you for being such a blessing in my life. You're one of my closest friends, and you know that, and I just adore you and love you. And ladies, that just listen to that, and men, God, please follow his lead, because he is, he stands in the divine.
I'm not perfect, but
no, but
you're a
beautiful man, you're a beautiful, conscious man. And so, Danny, how can people find you? Where, what do you have coming on? I know that you just got a certification certification, and now you're business strategist. Like, what are you doing? You have so many big things happening in your
I
life right
know. So I've been a business strategist for a while, but now I teamed up with Antoine J, right, to do turnaround specialists. And I do the business stuff where I help people buy businesses, right, without their money and not getting a loan, but using the money that's in the business itself. And there's ways to structure these deals,
now. Wow.
right? So it has nothing to do with of your personal stuff. So I teach people that. I flip businesses. I buy and flip businesses. Besides, all the health stuff that I still love to do, like that's hands down. Somebody calls me, hey, I need help with this, cancer or whatever it is. All right, let's get to work. I love doing that. You know that.
Yeah, you do. You live your life for service. And so where can everybody find you?
Either social media or my website, DannyTorres.com, which there's some stuff. I think there's 3 pages on there right now. I'm literally redoing everything. But DannyTorres.com, you can contact, send me email, or through Facebook, Danny Torres, and just but make sure it's me. That's the only reason why I kept that silly looking picture where I'm like this when I'm at one of my seminars, because I run the personal development seminars. So I'm like this, and the reason I kept that on is because there's so many Danny Torreses out there.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, this is gonna lose me separate.
What's your middle name? You should use your middle name, like Danny something Torres.
No, that's too common too.
Oh, okay.
Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna rebrand myself to Titan.
Yeah.
Just Titan. That's it. Protector of all.
Put your website. We'll pin your website down below. And guys, if you want to, he is seriously one of the most conscious men that I know. He's a health coach. He's a business strategist. He just can change your life. So make sure you connect that. If you have any questions for Danny or myself, leave them in the comments below as well.
Yeah.
If we did bring you value today, please like, share, and subscribe to this, guys, because we want to get these messages out to so many of the people. I do have something amazing going on for you guys. I have a webinar that is starting. It's next Thursday at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and it is on this exact subject. It's on the mind-body connection. It's making the divine feminine and the divine masculine. If you want to do that, then we would love to have you. And just go to noelleagape.com. Danny, I love you so much, and I am so grateful to have you in my life. Thank you for being on. Thank you for bringing you to this world, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me, and thank you to anybody listening and allowing me to serve. Like, I hope I serve.
You always do. Love you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.